Who will start for the Cleveland Browns in 2025? Here's who we think is actually going to win the job.
Kenny Pickett spoke on the recent signing of Joe Flacco. The Cleveland Browns added Joe Flacco into the mix, who was formerly with the team when they went on a playoff run, or they made it to the playoffs. He won Comeback Player of the Year, most unexpected performance, and then they fell off a cliff when they went back to Deshaun Watson. Pickett weighed in on Flacco coming in and him being traded for him being a part of this Cleveland quarterback room. And he was asked point blank if he thinks that there's a competition. And he said that that's the plan. Pickett said of potentially starting for Cleveland. I'm not going there to hang out. I want to go play. I'm excited. Been working hard for it, taking it a day at a time. Kenny, I'm sorry to admit this. You are not in first of the line to start, brother.
No.
You think that they think that you're the one who's going to start, not the guy who just took them to the playoffs? They brought in Joe Flacco for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that they might not be all in on drafted Shador second overall. Maybe that's the direction this has turned into. But you're like third on the list if we're being completely honest with ourselves. If they still drafted Shador, you get bumped down. And good old Joe Flacco, who's already used to the offense, gets the bump ahead of you. I would be hoping that you make the roster, Kenny.
Kenny, it should be your time to hang out. Why not hang out in Cleveland?
Yeah.
If you were on a team like when he was with Philly, great. That you're not hanging out there. You're on a contender. You have to be ready.
Pressure.
You have to be ready to go in. You have to be ready to execute if your number is called, because you could be the player that determines a playoff win, playoff seeding. You could be a guy that steps in if a quarterback goes down with a little bruise in the fourth quarter. You keep the team afloat. You keep the season going. Cleveland, what else are you doing in Cleveland but hanging out? Play some ping pong. Play some cornhole. Get the fellas' morale up. Be a locker room guy and someone that can float until you land on a contender. And then you could get ready to play. Then you could wait for a quarterback in front of you to tear an Achilles, and then you could flash with a good team, opposed to Cleveland. Joe Flacco gets hit and he turns into dust, and then you step in with your big glove throwing the ball all over the field, looking like Kenny Pickett, which is what you don't want to do. So hang out in Cleveland. Be a good guy. And maybe you'll be on a better team next year where then you can actually focus.
God, we've got such low expectations for Kenny Pickett. Yeah, just go be a good guy. Just go be a – I'm convinced that this is why they went and traded for Kenny Pickett. You've got the atrocity that is Deshaun Watson of a horrible human being that you're like, who is like the most just nicest guy that we could possibly go get that's not going to get into any trouble? I think he was engaged in college. He's got a lot of experience underneath him. He's very quiet. He's not very outspoken. You don't hear a lot from him. He's not very pompous. Apparently, he is from this quote. Let's go get Kenny Pickett. That's gonna do a little. It's like when in college the specialists, you keep them around because they boost the team GPA. You're kind of hoping that this boosts the team image because you've got the super pervert and Deshaun Watson still sticking around.
Yeah.
I forget, but we're sitting here talking about Flacco and Pickett. I honestly forget that Deshaun Watson's technically still on the roster. I don't know what's happening there. I don't know enough about salary cap workings to know if they're going to just get rid of him.
It's the worst, not even offseason move. It's the worst football move ever made, the Deshaun Watson trade. It is by far.
Easily.
It dwarfs the Albert Haynesworth signing. It dwarfs the worst trade you've ever thought of. You could not write a move that a professional NFL football team would make that has this much residual effect, where you got Kenny Pickett talking about competing with Joe Flacco on your team, and they're going to be lower on the depth chart than the worst quarterback the NFL may have ever seen over the last couple of years. It is unfathomable that this is still developing. And this rose hasn't even, I think, begun to bloom, because Cleveland just this month admitted it was a mistake, that they messed up. The Haslams are just now taking accountability for that blunder. So we got another full season, and then next off season where I don't think Deshaun Watson's getting shipped. If they couldn't ship him for that possible breach of his rehab assignment where he's walking around.
Well, I don't know if they're still evaluating that. I don't know how that works.
I think they got destroyed. I think Watson said, you don't have enough probable cause. This is my time. This is what I'm doing. I wasn't doing anything that was risky.
Over here.
Dude, if they could have got out, they should have got out, because the last thing an NFL team wants to do, you and I both know this, admit that they're wrong, especially admitting they're wrong for so much GD money. It's the worst move ever. And now I don't know. last year's Oakland room was really bad, and I've seen some other bad rooms. This is in contention.
This is one of the worst quarterback rooms that I can think of. Well, it helps that they have Flacco, who went to a playoff game.
Do you see how crazy that is to say, though?
Flacco played well. He didn't play well at the Colts because that wasn't really like a great fit for the circumstance. There was a different circus going on with Anthony Richardson trying to get on and off the field and all of that crap. That wasn't right for him. Cleveland was right for Joe Flacco. And I'm kind of glad that they brought back Joe Flacco. I think that there's a way that this could produce some kind of success. I don't know what that is, but I agree with you. I don't think that we can ever, and I don't think this is a hot take to say, the Deshaun Watson trade will go down in the history of the sport as the worst trade ever, because not only did you give up a ton of picks for him, you moved on from a guy in Baker Mayfield who you drafted first overall, who was the first actual good quarterback draft pick that you've had in not 10 years, decades.
Probably since Kaiser.
Decades. Oh, screw yourself. Decades. And he's now doing great things with the Buccaneers, and he is a competent starter. And if you had him while Deshaun Watson was hurt and unavailable and during all this shit, and he was starting instead of Flacco, who knows what Baker Mayfield could have done if you had just been patient about it instead of rushing him out of the building. But the biggest part about all this, he's an enormous pervert. He's a huge freaking creep. Alleged or not alleged, he did some of the most weird, perverted shit that he possibly could have done. Nothing that sends him to jail, but really fucked up. Really fucked up.
It's a bad look. This is why me and Chris Hetu are going to rebuild NFL Top 10 from scratch. I'm going to want you for some VO work there. I'm not sure if their old guy is still going to be there, but there needs to be more. There needs to be more. You're so annoying. There needs to be more commentary and more revision of these top 10 lists, because I love them so much. This is just such an easy 1-1 for me. Kenny Pickett. I don't know how we got here from Kenny Pickett. Oh, it's because Kenny Pickett is so bad that he has to compete with Deshaun Watson and Joe Flacco. That's where I'm at here.
Well,
and I'm rooting for Kenny Pickett to be the starter out of all of them. I think he has the best possible chance to get Cleveland to 5 wins this year.
The reason why I brought this up, to circle back here, I just kind of found it very funny when he was kind of asked about the potential of starting and all this is, one, the irony of the situation of that's what your quarterback competition is Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco, which couldn't have been two wider ends of the spectrum. And then the other part about this is just, I don't know, Kenny's comment kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know. I was just like, you should be happy that you're getting a chance to compete. You weren't traded for that reason.
Do you know where they asked him? Was he at a children's hospital where they got this question out of him? What was he doing this week for him to be asked this question and give such it's a cocky athlete answer. I'm not going there to hang out. That's a bridge away from I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to, it's my job. Just be normal.
All it says here's what was weird about the he was at the Pitt spring game.
Oh, okay.
The Pittsburgh local Pittsburgh newspaper, Pittsburgh Tribune Review. I got this from CBS Sports, but Pittsburgh Tribune Review was the one who reported on. So he was at the Pitt spring game. Dude, Kenny, all you had to do is say, I'm at the spring game here to support.
I wouldn't go anywhere if
Coach Narduzzi.
If I'm an NFL quarterback, you're not seeing me anywhere. I'm playing golf in the middle of the woods. There's not going to be tournaments. There's not going to be anything around me. I'm just
here. You are with your face plastered on a podcast.
Yeah, that's true. Oh well.
Yeah, you're saying, but that's an empty statement. That is an empty statement.
You think about I wouldn't be living a little bit differently if I was an NFL player?
Your face would be everywhere. Your face would be everywhere.
You would be living differently. That's for sure.
My face would probably be more places. Even if I was a shit backup quarterback, I would be making comments all over the place.
If you made it to the NFL as a shit backup quarterback, I'd start leaking stories about you. I'd start getting paid.
All right.
I'd start getting paid.
All right.
I might. Oh God. If it gets real nitty gritty here with the rent, I might just start breaking those. Finding my own sources.
Got no story. Okay. All right.
Hey, RR. Maybe I'll get something coming to you if this guy gets out of line.